This is the first time I have ever been a candidate for public office. I didn't even run for student council. But this is not the first campaign I've ever run. I ran a campaign for a Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Yeah. And because I'm here with people who make things happen, I thought what I'd do is just spend our little bit of time together this morning. I wanted to talk about that campaign just for a minute and about how it is that that campaign informs what it is I want to try to do, both in running for the Senate and in being in the Senate, and how much I need your help. So here's how I think of this story. You all remember, back in 2008, the markets are crashing. It looks like the economy is about to go over a cliff. Richie's given us a good example of what had happened. So has Jim. Wars that have been put on credit cards. But a big part of this, remember, was that the financial services market was failing. People are talking about all the things that have broken, and the serious question is, for me, what kind of rules are we going to write going out on the other side? This is like coming out of the Great Depression. What rules will we write? Because they will shape what kind of country we will have for half a century. So everyone's talking about the big mega banks. They're talking about capital reserve requirements and derivatives and that sort of thing. Very important. It was all broken at that level. But no one's talking about what happened down at the family level, at the household level. And I kept saying to people, we should never forget, this economy was broken one lousy mortgage at a time. And if we don't fix the rules at the family level, at the household level, then we're just inviting this problem to happen again. This time it was mortgages that got packaged and sold up the line and poisoned the system. But next time it'll be tricky credit cards, or it'll be student loans that fool people. It'll just keep happening. The problem is we have a broken consumer credit system. And it's because we don't have any decent rules that are transparent, that cause us to give families a fair shot, a level playing field on financial products. So I had an idea. You never identify a problem if you don't also have an idea for a solution, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. And I said, you take these 18 federal statutes administered by 7 different agencies that don't care much about it, put it with one agency, and give families a strong voice in Washington, something to balance out the big banks. So I went to Washington, and I talked to lots of different people in government and explained this. And they said 2 things to me. The first thing they said is, that is a great idea. This could actually work. It could actually repair a hole in the bottom of the financial boat for families. The second thing they said to me is, don't do it. Now think about that. They said don't do it, and the reason they said don't do it is you can never get this passed. The bank lobbyists will organize, the big banks, Wall Street, they will organize and they will field a team of lobbyists, the likes of which have never been seen on the face of this earth, and they will make it a #1 priority to kill this consumer agency. Therefore, you can't get it, don't try, do something else, look for something little. Now, I heard this, and I thought what people were saying to me was, try harder. I think I grew up on too many Nancy Drew novels. So I heard it as, try harder. And I thought, so how do you make something happen when all the lobbyists, all the internal organization is going to be against it? When all the deals cut in the back room are going to keep it from happening? And the answer to me was, you just get organized. You run the outside game. You get real people across the Commonwealth and across the country to get engaged on this issue. And if they're engaged, we will create the wind in our own sails. And so here's how it went. The House got through a good, strong Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Remember, the Democrats were still in the majority. We had a strong delegation from Massachusetts that led the way, and we got a good bill, a good financial reform bill, that particularly had a very strong Consumer Financial Protection Bureau in it. Man, I was feeling good. Okay? Until folks from the House explained to me, wait till you get to the Senate, baby. The Senate, where things go to die, right? So the idea was, we got it through the House, it came up in the Senate, this is now January of 2010, and I remember the day, it was the third week in January, third Friday in January, when the front page of the Wall Street Journal ran the headline, Consumer Agency Dead. And what was that about? They said, well, it turns out they're going to report, the Senate Banking Committee is going to report out the bill on financial reform, will have all the other parts in it, but won't have a consumer agency. There'll be no fingerprints on it because there'll be no public vote about killing the agency. It will just get smothered in the crib. So I got a phone call that day from someone in the Senate. Oh, we're so sorry, we really wanted this to happen. We'll be here next time. You know, we'll do this next year. And I said, well, so when is the bill getting reported out? And they said, 3 weeks. And I thought, 3 weeks? We ain't dead yet. So we were organized. We activated in those 3 weeks, and across this country, I just want to say, we have more than 200 groups, the AFL-CIO, SEIU, AARP, Consumers Union, more than 200 groups across the country. We had email connections to literally hundreds of thousands of people. And when the moment came that they were going to kill this thing without a vote, we kept asking for just one thing. We want a vote. It's the American way. We want a vote. Vote, vote, vote. We were everywhere. And you know, we even had our frame for the vote. You could vote for banks or you can vote for families. But you have to give us a... There were some who objected to that framing. But I thought it was... You can vote for banks or you can vote for families, but give us a public vote. And here's how it worked. When we got our public vote, because we made it too embarrassing not to get a vote, and enough people had to stand up in public, there was a majority to vote for a good, strong Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Yes, we got it. But when the question came about running for the United States Senate, it was that story that made me believe. Because what I take away from that story is, first, when we care about something and we get organized and we get behind it, together we make it happen. When someone tells you you can't get anything done in Washington, just look back at them and say, consumer agency. We did it when people said it's not possible. That's my first lesson. Yes, we can. My second lesson that I take away from this is that we do it by doing it together. That no one accomplishes things on their own. We don't accomplish things by doing them in backroom deals, not the people's business. The way we do the people's business is we get organized ourselves. And that's how we make something happen. And so it takes me to the third part, why I am here today. I'm running for the United States Senate because I believe, exactly as Richie said, exactly as Jim said, this is a moment in history. The decision about whether or not this country goes forward as a country that increasingly says, I got mine, the rest of you are on your own. Or a country that says, we believe in winners, but we believe that everyone invests in making sure the right conditions are in place so the next kid has a chance to make it big, and the kid after that, and the kid after that. That's what this election is about. It's important, and the only way we make it happen is if we do the work together. So I'm here to make a promise and to ask a question. The promise is, I will work my heart out to be your senator. I will work my heart out in this race. I'm out there before the sun's up in the morning, and I'll still be out there long after it goes down at night. And here's the other half to that. And I'll still be out there as your senator, working my heart out if I'm elected to represent you.
When?
I will do that. I like that. I will do that.